All right, welcome to another review video. So you don't have access to these graphs or these problems, but if you need a refresher on how to read a graph using function notation and how to do function composition with graphs, then this is the video for you. Remember that we said function notation tells us what we're looking at and the x value that we are given. So in this case, we're looking at the f graph. Well, the f graph is the solid V-shaped graph, this absolute value graph. That would be the f graph. But we are looking when x equals 4. So when x equals 4 on the graph, that would be this point. So this is the point on the f graph when x equals 4, right? Because that's where it hits it. If I go up the x equals 4 line, it hits that absolute value V-shaped graph right at that point. And my answer, therefore, is 2, because that's the y-coordinate for that point. The x-coordinate is 4, the input is 4, the y-coordinate is 2, the output is 2. Don't be thrown off by number 9 and number 10. This is, again, not multiplication. This is notation that says we need to subtract the f graph minus the g graph, but we're only doing it at x equals 3. So then that's f of 3 minus g of 3. Okay? Remember, these are x values. So I'm going to go to my graph, and I'm going to go find x equals 3, and f of 3 would be this point. And that has a y value of 1. And g of 3 would be this point. And that has a y value of 2.5, 2.5. But the problem told us to subtract those numbers. So if you subtract those numbers, 1 minus 2.5, well, that would be negative 1.5. And that's my answer. We subtracted the y values. You're really telling me how much distance is there between them if you subtract the blue point minus the purple point. And 1 minus 2.5 is negative 1.5. Same thing happens with number 10, g of 1. So this is really saying we're going to divide the g function by the f function, but we're doing it only at x equals 1. So that's going to be g of 1 divided by f of 1. So if I erase my markings here, I'm looking at x value 1. On the g graph, x value of 1 is right here. And that answer is 1. So this equals 1. And I'm going to divide that by f of 1. Well, f of 1 is this point, and that answer is 3. So therefore, my answer is 1 divided by 3, or 1/3. And that's it. That's how you read the graph. But now that we know how to read the graph, we can do some composition problems. Remember, composition says do the inside part first. So I'm going to do g of 0 first, get an answer, and then use that answer as the input into the f function. Always start from the inside and work your way out. So g of 0 means when my x value is 0, so that's this, the g graph is right here. And so therefore, that's 0. So this gives me an answer of 0. But now I'm going to use that answer as the input for the f function. And the f function says when my input is 0, my f function value is 4. And you're done. Remember, any number that's inside the parentheses in this notation is giving me the input or the x. Your job is to figure out the output or the y. Let's try another one here. Number 12. Remember, if you see this little open circle, rewrite it as f of g of 1. That way you can see, oh, I need to do the inside part first, and then that's going to give me an answer that I'm going to substitute into the second function on the outside. So g of 1. If my x value is 1, my g value is this y-coordinate, and that would be 1. But now I'm going to use that 1 as my input, and I'm going to put it into my f function, And if I do that, that's going to be this value, and that equals 3. Composition is just about taking two functions, an inner function and an outer function, evaluating the inner function to get an answer, and then using that answer into the outer function. We're going to do one more. Let's do number 13. And in number 13, it reverses, and now I have g of f of 0. Okay, so that means I need to find this first so that I can put the answer inside that parentheses. It is inside the parentheses, right? So when x equals 0, when my x value is 0, my f, my function f graph is up here, so that would be 4. But now I'm going to go to 4, and when my x value is 4, my g is up here, and that looks like it's at about 2.5. Function composition using graphs was something we did last week. It was one of your Khan Academies, along with tables, using tables to do function composition evaluation, and that's one of your Khan Academies. So if you haven't finished that, here are some videos to help you remember how to do those things.